Hello, and welcome to Comic Book Corner with Levi Bull. I am Levi Bull, and with me I have a special guest.
Jordan Donaldson.
He's from the J&J Twins YouTube channel on YouTube. You can check them out, he and his brother. But today, on Comic Book Corner, we're going to talk about the Civil War comic book. Because the movie's coming out next week, and I'm going to talk about it next week on Comic Book Corner. So I figured we'd talk about the actual storyline in the comics this week.
Wait, coming out on DVD?
Yeah, it's already out on digital. So
Ooh.
if you want to watch Civil War, it's out on digital. But again, we'll talk about the movie later on, or next week. Right now, Jordan and I are going to discuss the comic book.
Yeah, but I'll be right back.
Okay, Jordan will be right back. So I'll just
Keep on
start.
talking.
I'll start talking about it right now. So it starts off with this group of C-list heroes going into Stamford, Connecticut to stop this group of villains for a TV show called The New Warriors. And funny enough, Marvel is actually developing a show on ABC, I think, about The New Warriors. So I hope it'll be the same way, except maybe minus all the sadness when they blow up a school and kill a bunch of kids and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of ABC, you see the new Ghost Rider trailer thing? Just a little short clip. He doesn't like
We're not
it.
talking about that right now. Okay, so it starts off with this team, the New Warriors, going into Stamford, Connecticut, and they are trying to stop all these villains, one of them being Nitro. And Nitro, tries to run away from the group of New Warriors, and he makes it to a school where Namor Rita, who is Namor's cousin, goes in and tackles him up against a bus and is like, don't try anything stupid because I know how to take you down. And he says, well, you're playing with the big boys now. And then he blows up, killing a bunch of kids and the surrounding city of Stamford, Connecticut.
Very sad.
It was quite sad.
It shows kids glowing red. I had to go grab the book.
Yeah, he's looking at the book right now. So that's how it starts. And then it shows... the next page is all the heroes picking up after the thing, and it says Civil War on it. And so it shows them all cleaning up. The X-Men are there, the Avengers are there, and Luke Cage, Fantastic Four are there. Can't forget them because they're important in this story. So yeah, that's the basic part, and it shows them talking about Goliath. Actually says something like, this is the straw that breaks the camel's back to Ms. Marvel, I believe. And then it gets into the actual Civil War storyline because Tony Stark goes to a funeral for all the kids from the school, and this mother walks up to him and spits in his face and tells him he's a monster and he killed a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker's there taking pictures, and J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah. Spider-Man. All right. And then a scene that I think would have been really good if they had
In
the
a
Fantastic
movie?
Four in it.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, going to a nightclub with his girlfriend.
Okay.
And he lands after being Human Torch and signing autographs, I think is actually what he was doing. But he lands, and these people call him a baby killer and stuff like that. And then they end up breaking a bottle over his head and then beating his unconscious body.
Yeah.
And he ends up in the hospital for most of this story.
And his girlfriend's all like, Johnny!
Yeah.
Not funny.
It's really not, but I mean, And then they all meet in the Baxter Building to talk about what they think is going to happen. And Doctor Strange is there. Hank Pym is there. I think he's Yellow Jacket at this point.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, X-Men, they're all there talking and stuff. Young Avengers. And then Spider-Man shows up. And then it goes to a scene that was in Captain America with the Winter Soldier, instead of being in a Civil War storyline where he's in the SHIELD helicarrier. Mm-hmm. And Maria Hill is the director at this point, and she has these group of people try to take him down.
She irked my nerves so hard in this comic book.
Yeah, she was not fun in this comic. But she's the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., so she tells Captain America to at least have some respect for the badge. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and then she's like, and you're gonna help us take down the rest of the heroes, right? And he says, excuse me? And then they all load their guns and stuff, and then Maria Hill tells them to fire, and Steve Rogers straight up uses a guy as a shield to block these tranquilizers. And they're tranquilizers, they're not actual bullets or anything. So he goes and uses this guy to block all the tranquilizers. And when I was reading this comic last night, all I could think about is how that guy must have been out for like a week at the least.
So many tranquilizers.
Like in the picture, he has like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of tranquilizers in his back. And then
I don't know if you guys knew.
like in The Winter Soldier, he has a scene in the elevator where he ends up jumping out. There's a scene in this where he jumps out of the elevator and, or not an elevator, it's just the window of the helicarrier. And he lands on like a jet and then takes the pilot down and they land or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to Tony Stark talking to the government. Well, it's Tony, Hank, and Reed, I think. And they're talking to, the government about the Superhero Registration Act. And they're like, and the government's like, we're gonna go through with this. And Tony goes, you go ahead, let us worry about Captain America. And then it goes into the second issue. If you weren't reading it as the graphic novelization, if you were buying it issue by issue, it was that was the end of the first issue. And then it cuts, the first scene or panel of the second issue is Vulture and Grim Reaper tied up and beat up after Captain America like found them in the sewers and just started beating them up.
So petty.
And they're chained up against this thing.
Like, let Spider-Man deal with them. You're too strong.
Yeah, really. And then, yeah, really. Sorry, we're looking at a picture of She-Hulk. And then it cuts to Iron Man and his Avengers that are following the Registration Act take down a giant Doom bot, which, again, if the Marvel Universe was all connected, they would have Fantastic Four, X-Men, and the Avengers all together, and we could have Doom bots. But in the comics, he takes down a Doom bot, they take down a Doom bot, and people are cheering and stuff, and Tony looks at Ms. Marvel and is like, that's the sound of people believing in superheroes again. And then it goes to Fantastic Four, and Johnny's still in the hospital, Reed's being really secretive for Sue, and Ben is watching the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man, we get to more Spider-Man stuff. It's J. Jonah Jameson.
Looking all sorts of salty.
He's talking to Robbie Robertson. This man's name is Robbie
Classic
Robertson.
name.
And about the Superhero Registration Act. And Robbie's like, do you really think they'll all sign up? And JJJ goes, no, only the ones that are smart. And it shows Spider-Man like swinging out past the window.
Sure, Spider-Man won't.
Which he does. But, and then it's Tony talking to, I think that's Happy Hogan.
I'm not sure.
I don't know though. They both look like Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But they're sitting there talking, and he's like, I hope I made the right choice. And on there, it's in like Times Square, and it shows Registration Act becomes law. And so it's a law now, they're going to. And then it cuts to Young Avengers. It's Patriot running across a rooftop, and he like gets shot by a bunch of tranquilizers and stuff, and he gets taken in. And then it's him and the rest of the Young Avengers team in a transport vehicle, and it ends up one of the guards in the back takes down the rest of them, and it ends up being Sam Wilson, who's Falcon. And then in the front, Steve Rogers like kicks a man out of the car and drives off with the rest of the Young Avengers, while Sam's yelling at Wiccan to make him do a spell to get them out of there to the new Avengers base. They get to the base, then they all are basically just enlisted with Captain America. And then it cuts to one of the most famous scenes from the Civil War comic, and is where Spider-Man is at the press conference on live TV. It shows the X-Men watching, Captain America's team watching, and J. Jonah Jameson's watching from his office, and Peter takes off his mask, and J. Jonah Jameson faints after he takes off his mask. It's really good. He faints, and Peter's like, I've been Spider-Man since I was 15 years old. Any questions? JJ faints, and then that's the end of the second issue.
Wait, I had a question.
Okay.
I thought the Patriot died.
No, he doesn't die. I don't think
He was
so.
looking real dead, because you see, the bomb goes on the roof. He's like, oh boy. The building explodes, and all the gas explodes, and then they bring him out of the plane or whatever, and look, just dead eyes. I thought he's dead. Oh wait, no, he's
He's alive. He's fine. He's fine.
Never mind.
Jordan didn't know what he was just talking about for a minute. So then becomes like the first real big fight in the Civil War comic, and they all meet at this like setup. I think it's like the Roxxon Corporation or something, and they're all fighting, and Tony knows how to like copy all their moves, And so he's fighting Cap and stuff. And then they call in the Project 42, which is the robot Thor. And I wanted to see him in the movie, but they never showed him.
Yeah.
And so then they have him come in, and he ends up killing Goliath. And since he died when he was big, they couldn't shrink him down. So Tony paid for like 6 burial plots, or no, a lot more than 6.
Yeah.
But so they could bury him when he was still big and stuff. And then Spider-Man ends up realizing he made the wrong choice, and he goes in and he's in the sewers, and he gets, cause Shield is using supervillains to catch the heroes that are rogue, kind of like a Suicide Squad situation.
Yeah.
But so they're using these villains, and they find Spider-Man and they beat him almost to a pulp until Punisher comes in and shoots them dead. And then Punisher carries him back to Captain America's base, which I think is one of the coolest pictures in the whole thing, is Punisher holding his body.
I wish that was in Civil War.
Yeah, I wish John Berthnall would have been Punisher in the movie. But he's like, "Give me a medic now." And then they get him a medic. All Captain America's team's really messed up after that one fight. Mm-hmm. They caught Daredevil, and they take him to the negative zone, whatever. But before that, they have Punisher sees 2 of Captain America's old villains that want to join Captain America's team, and he shoots them, and then Cap starts beating him up, and is like, "You're not joining my team." But Punisher doesn't fight him back because he respects him too much, so he doesn't fight him back. And then more stuff happens, more little things happen until the last big battle of Civil War. And towards the end of that, it's towards the end of the battle, it's Captain America versus Iron Man, and they're fighting in the streets.
Bishop.
And Bishop's there too.
Forgot. I gotta reread this.
All the X-Men are there. Yeah, it's a good
I
comic.
haven't picked up this comic book in ages.
So then they're all fighting, and it comes down to Iron Man and Captain America, and they're punching each other and stuff. And Captain America ends up breaking Iron Man's helmet and just keeps punching at him. And then all these citizens gather around and grab onto him, and he basically gives himself up because he's about to kill Tony. And all these citizens grab onto him, make him stop before he could kill him, and then he goes to jail.
Yeah.
And that's really the end of it. Because he tells the other Avengers to stand down. He goes to jail, and then they're all
just rebuilding the city.
Yeah, they gotta rebuild, because they caused so much damage. It's almost like a parallel to the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's why he stops, because he looks around after all the citizens grab him, and he's like, "This is just what happened at the beginning, and that's why I have to stop." Mm-hmm. And then Spider-Man's in the black suit at the end of this comic too, which I completely forgot about. And then
just all the different
and then they have
teams.
at least one super team in every U.S. state, so it goes around showing all the states and all who's on what team and stuff like that. And then Black Panther, who was very prominent in the movie, is actually neutral in the comic, and so he doesn't do anything actiony or anything because he remains neutral. But
so did Doctor Strange, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he did any fighting, but he tried to guide them.
Yeah.
Okay, but so let's do some final roundup thoughts about the comic. I like it. I like it better than the movie.
I love it.
Because it has all of them.
I wish the movie was this.
And also, at the end, things change, Captain America actually goes to jail instead of him being out and free. I have a lot of problems with the movie, which I'll talk about in my Comic Corner next week.
Oh, yeah.
So be looking out for that. So Jordan, what do you think of Civil War the comic?
I love Civil War the comic way better than the movie, actually. I love all the characters. I wish Marvel hadn't given up the rights. I know they were working through some money issues, but they should have just toughed it out until they created the Marvel Cinematic Universe and earned all that money back. Oh gosh, I wish. A man can dream.
A man can dream. You're right about that. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Comic Corner. We hope you. Well, I hope you come back next time. I don't know if I'll have Jordan here next time,
Probably not.
but I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Nerd Meets World. And go check out J&J Twins on YouTube with Jordan and his brother, and give them some likes and stuff.
Thanks, man.
No problem, Jordan. All right, have a good day, guys. See you later.
Out.